So I told you at the top of the show, the S&P's 15% gain year to date, nothing to sneeze at. But check out this comparison. Since the start of 2023, Bitcoin has pulled off an absolute moonshot. The crypto of record has soared 83%, with a good chunk of it coming since June 15th. That's when Blackrock, the world's largest asset manager, filed an application for a spot Bitcoin trust ETF. BlackRock's iShares joins a crowd of fund managers from ARK to Invesco, VanEck, Grayscale, all these other fund companies that have been desperate to do the same, but they've been turned away by the SEC's bouncers, namely Chief Bouncer Gary Gensler. BlackRock's first application, actually, it's already been kicked back. The SEC demanded it name a surveillance partner to spot things like fraud and manipulation. And late last week, BlackRock and NASDAQ refiled, naming Coinbase as the custodial surveillance partner of the spot Bitcoin trust. The crypto world pinning its hopes on BlackRock, which has a track record regulators say they find too good to reject. At least that's what people think. BlackRock's 576 ETF applications, 575 have been accepted, and just one has been rejected. I know you're all asking which one. I'll tell you later. It was in 2014. As the entire crypto sector waits and watches, joining us now in a Fox Business exclusive is BlackRock's chairman and CEO, Larry Fink, along with Charlie Gasparino. Great to have you, Larry.
Liz, Charlie, it's good to be here
Anytime.
on a summer day.
Yeah, and we're cool in here.
We are.
Larry, I know that per SEC regulations, you cannot get into specifics. But as you look at all of your track records when it comes to iShares and approvals, how do these things work out? How long does it take? And what do you think odds are of any of your ETFs that you float getting accepted?
Well, we try to do what's right for the long-term investor, and I think we have a good track record working with our regulators and trying to making sure we're thinking about all the issues around any filing. And so I can't get into the specifics of this filing, but I think the chart speaks quite well. We work really closely with our regulators, and we want to hear from the regulators what are their issues and how can we fix those issues around that. So we hope that, like in the past, we could be working with our regulators and get the filing approved one day. And I have no idea what that one day will be, but and so we'll see how that all plays out. Specifically on Bitcoin, as I've said in the past, we're a believer in digitization of products. ETFs was a big revolution for the mutual fund industry, and it's really taking over the mutual fund industry. And we do believe that if we can create more tokenization of assets and securities, and that's what Bitcoin is, it could revolutionize again finance. And so we look at this as an opportunity to move one step further in terms of providing investors fractions of shares, fractions of this, democratizing the cost of investing. Over the last 10 years, we've lowered the cost of iShares ETFs by 30%. So what we're trying to do is make it more accessible, more easy. The attempt in terms of what we're trying to do with crypto is make it more democratized with all the crypto and making it much cheaper for investors. Right now, the bid-ask spread for crypto is very expensive. It does erode a lot of the returns that you speak about because it costs a lot of money right now to transact Bitcoin, and it costs a lot of money to get out of that. And so we hope our regulators look at these filings as a way to democratize crypto, and we'll see in the future how that plays out.
You were never a crypto skeptic like Buffett. I mean, Buffett and Charlie Munger come out and they say all this bad stuff about it. But you were kind of skeptical.
Yeah, I was skeptical because the early users it was heavily used for, let's say, illicit activities. And I think as it became more accessible, and also I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold in many ways. Instead of investing in gold as a hedge against inflation, a hedge against the onerous problems of any one country, or the devaluation of your currency, whatever country you're in, let's be clear. Bitcoin is an international asset. It's not based on any one currency. And so it can represent an asset that people can play as an alternative. I would call the foundation of Blackrock is about hope. You invest for retirement because you believe tomorrow is better than today.
Right, but hasn't the technology sort of diverged from the value of the digital coins? I mean, I don't know a lot of people who use the blockchain. That's the Bitcoin technology to transact. I know a lot of people who hold Bitcoin. You don't hold Bitcoin, right?
I don't own anything other than mutual funds and
BlackRock,
ETFs, BlackRock shares.
Okay, but you see what I'm saying? There's been advancement. There's a utility, it seems, out of nowhere about this digital coin. I don't see the utility in the underlying technology, and isn't that bad?
Well, no, I actually believe the underlying technology is fantastic because the blockchain will help you accelerate the processes of transactions. The blockchain will help you identify. I mean, let's be clear. If you have a pure blockchain and you have knowledge of who the buyers and sellers are, we could then, we don't need custodians anymore. Okay. We don't need, the whole process of finance. Some of the intermediaries are broken down. And so this is why we're all studying.
There, but we're not there.
We're not close to there.
But
it's an advancement of technology. I mean, it's no different than the spirit around AI and what AI can do.
Larry, as we look at the broader market here, we have come out of a bank crisis. I don't know, it was a mini
crisis,
fit or something like
that. A little mini
crisis. Didn't feel mini to the banks that went under, three of them.
Yes.
But the very issues that put those banks under, whether it was bank management in relation to higher interest rates, have not gone away. Now we've got the roller coaster coming right at commercial real estate.
Yes.
Are there more banks that you foresee failing, whether they are the regionals? We just talked to David Rubenstein at the top of the show, and he thinks maybe in a couple of years we will see some of these go away.
We have 4,400 banks. We have more banks in the United States than any country in the world. We believe in local banks, so we have a strong foundational belief that local banks are good. But to have 4,400 maybe is too many. Liz, you framed it perfectly. I believe interest rates are going to continue to go higher. I think the Federal Reserve is going to have to do minimum of 2, but maybe as much as 4 more tightening.
4 more 25 basis points.
25 basis points, another 100 basis points. I actually believe inflation is stickier and more structural. And so I see a future of higher interest rates. Higher interest rates is going to create more stress in commercial real estate. Commercial real estate is the largest asset category of regional banks. And so there may be stresses.
That's a problem.
But the first 3 banks did not have stress on credit. They had stress on their mismatch of their assets and liabilities. Could we move towards more of a crisis towards credit? Absolutely. Is that systemic? Probably not. It's not. It doesn't have to be systemic.
It's not the big banks. I mean,
it's not the big banks. And more importantly, the economy is really strong now and getting stronger. It's not getting weaker. We have the 3 large stimulus packages that were enacted over the last year, the Infrastructure Act, the CHIPS Act, and the IRA. It's all just starting the J curve. This is going to, and it was $1 trillion over many years, but of stimulus. It's just entering the economy.
Some say it's been too much.
Yes, but it's entering the economy at the same time.
Where are we in the cycle of spending that? Do you know? Halfway, 3/4?
5%.
Whoa!
That's it.
We're just starting, Charlie. This is just happening. And so think about how many jobs it takes to rebuild airports and freeways and ports. The job demand from these acts is going to be enormous. And so here we are talking about commercial real estate as it may be a problem, but the stimulus that we're going to see in the other parts of the economy is extraordinary. And owning companies that are involved in the rebuilding of our infrastructure, these are going to be good long-term holds.
Well, some of that has to do with what you have been behind for many years, and that's ESG, environmental, social, and governance.
We could say those words, right?
I don't say them anymore.
Oh, my God.
We won't go there.
Larry, much of the nation is broiling hot right now. I mean,
Yes.
we can throw up a weather map, and it is pretty unbelievable. A lot of records have been broken,
Yes.
particularly in the Southwest. Texas is melting records. The town of Tahoka broke a 110-year-old record. It's been nuts. They hit 116 degrees. Last week, the state hit a new record for electricity demand.
Yes.
But what's interesting is much of that demand, as conditioners are running at full speed, comes from sustainable.
Yes.
So whether that's solar
Yes.
or
Wind.
wind,
Yes.
it's filling that demand. And yet, the state of Texas doesn't like you guys.
No, look, Texas is, but people don't understand. Texas is the #1 state now in renewables. It is also obviously the largest state in terms of traditional energy, traditional power. And so we look at this, that we need power in both traditionals and renewables. And we're going to be announcing a big transaction with a traditional energy company that's heavily into gas, and we're helping them move towards more sequestration. And so our job is to be working on behalf of the asset owners. I mean, we're the largest asset manager. That means none of the money is ours. We're working with all the asset owners and trying to help them on long-term solutions. And part of the long-term solution is working on decarbonization. And hopefully we could develop new technology to bring down the cost even
But
more.
let's be clear, Charlie, and you've seen this.
Right.
BlackRock has hundreds of funds with fossil fuel
Totally.
companies.
200
we
billion,
can
right?
put
Is
up
that
a
the
bunch
No,
of them
we're
right
more
now.
than that. Worldwide, over 380 billion.
Correct.
That's
380 billion, and it's
amazing.
something like
We're the largest.
500 of your funds
Yeah.
or have at least one or two names.
So you're the largest
within them.
sin stock investor in the world.
Well, I want to call it sin stocks. We have to rely on traditional energy. At the same
Right.
time, we need to aggressively build decarbonization technology to offset the demand. But that's going to take years and years and years and years. And and so the question is, do we have the time? You're talking about record heat. The thing that I focus on, and we're not spending enough time on, is what's going on in homeowners insurance. In the state of Florida and the state of Texas, state of California, major property and casualty companies, big brands, are leaving the states because they can't elevate the price to meet their returns on homeowners. And we're displacing, really a large segment of America today that are not going to be able to afford homeowners insurance if they are in an area of risk. To me, that's where climate is investment risk. And that's what I wrote about.
So why not say ESG anymore?
Because it's been weaponized by the far left and weaponized by the far right, and we lose a conversation.
Maybe go to GSE. I can't help but laugh about this because it sounds so. The attacks on you are kind of absurd because I see Texas coming after you on ESG. I see Republicans. I see that guy from New York, Brad Lander, the control of New York.
Attacking us and not doing enough.
Not doing enough. We want you to get out of all of it. And you say, I can't do that.
And we can't look at our job is to do what our clients are asking them to do. And we do a very good job. And despite all the narrative last year, we were awarded over $400 billion in net new assets.
Yeah, you guys have $9 trillion now, right?
Over $9 trillion.
Yeah, no one's holding a gun to their head.
No, but our clients are coming to BlackRock more today than ever in the history. So despite all the narrative,
Right.
because we're a fiduciary, we do what our clients are asking them, and we have good performance, and we've been right on market calls. And,
well, that's true.
And so
people forget your background as a bond trader,
Yes.
As a risk manager. I mean, you created BlackRock from
Yeah.
nothing. It was dedicated to risk management,
Correct.
because of your experience in the mortgage-backed market back in the day.
Yeah.
And you've been really good at that for a really long time, and it gets sort of swept away. I know too much about you. I've known you for years. You look the same, but you're not. But you are getting older.
I am getting older.
I'm not
you
going to
are
ask
too,
you.
by the way.
I know. Trust me, I know that. You going to step down anytime soon?
There's no plans. I mean, I love my job, but at the same time, we are really building a management team.
Right.
It's not about one person. I mean, everyone thinks about, okay, who's that named person or named two people? we're spending so much time in making sure we have a team. And I'm very proud of the point right now that I actually believe when the time is right for me to stand down, that I actually believe we elevate one or two people. And I believe the majority of those leaders who are thinking they have that opportunity will be at the firm.
So they're at the firm. It's not going to be, like some people say, maybe you'll bring in Greg Fleming, good friend of yours.
No, absolutely not.
Blackrock
but what I'm trying to make sure is that when there's that time, it's not we anoint one or two people and three people leave. I'm trying to build a team that whoever is named 1 and 2, that the remainder team wants to be part of that new team.
Let me ask you about...
And that's about how to build an organization.
Let me ask you about two competitors.
Yeah.
Start with Morgan Stanley. There's a race to replace James Gorman at the top. Andy Saperstein, who runs brokerage. Ted Pick, who runs risk. Who do you think?
I wouldn't know. I mean, I think James has done a great job of having 3 people who are next in line, and the key is the same idea. Hopefully, whoever is named, the other 2 stay on. That's what you want. You want to. You don't want to have what happened in GE historically when one person is anointed and the whole team dispersed.
Well, Jack told him to leave, didn't he?
Yes, and I think that history will show that was a mistake. We're trying to build a team, and elevating 1 or 2 people doesn't mean other people are losers. And we're trying to keep continuity and making sure that we have a management team that is ready to run in and become better than what I've done.
But you wouldn't be that guy like Iger who's, I'll come back. Let me come back and save the day.
That would be a disaster.
Why?
Because I don't, you know what? I want the next team to be better than me. And I'm
see very few CEOs say that.
No, but
then
I'm
they
a
get
founder.
annoyed when they're successful.
But I'm a founder, and I think founders.
But that's right. You created this,
and
thing.
I want this firm to do so much better than.
But look what's happening at Goldman. This is now. If you don't want to answer it, I'm not going to bust your chops.
I'm not going to answer it. So.
But look, it's clearly a little this give and take between Lloyd Blankfein, the former CEO, the current guy Solomon, and Lloyd going around saying he doesn't like the fact that David does.
I will not be doing that. Whatever that may be.
Do you think David? Wait a second. Let me ask you.
I hope I'll be, enjoying my grandchildren.
You will be.
Okay.
But I need to ask you: is that guy getting a bad rap? Not you. I know you are, but David Solomon.
I think David has done a good job over time. I mean, it's obvious that there is a schism within the organization, and I think David has led the firm properly. I think he's elevated the firm. The firm is a better firm today than it was 5 years ago. And so I don't know the inner dealings. I don't spend much time focusing on the other firms. I spend all the time making sure we're doing the job right for our clients.
Okay, we got 30 seconds left, Larry. What do you think is the most important thing this country needs right now?
Solidarity. We need to bring back hope. So many Americans are losing hope. And the polarization of opinions, of fighting, it creates more fear. There's more fear in America today than in my lifetime. Fear about the future. You're seeing that, declining birth rates in America. You're seeing that people are frightened of, is tomorrow going to be better than today? I know when I was a child, I knew that the future was going to be better than it is today. And I built Blackrock on that belief. We need that. We need hope.
Our stage guys are agreeing with you, by the way. I saw him shaking his head.
Thank you, Larry.